I'm launching a new show, but not just any show. The show for founders, creators, and brands who are building something remarkable in untraditional, unexpected ways, and the stories behind them. And we're gonna call it differentiated. Differentiated is where we're gonna highlight some of the boldest builders, people taking big swings, breaking rules, and building businesses, products, and movements that make you stop and think, how did they even think of that? It's not gonna be about the obvious success stories or the copy and paste formulas. It's gonna be about covering real stories, the scrappy decisions, the setbacks, and the moments of breakthrough where it makes it all worth it. Okay, let me explain. I spent well over the last decade helping people make their messages impossible to ignore. But here's the truth. Most builders, most founders are so close to their businesses that they struggle to tell their own story. They're so focused on what they do that they forget the why and the how that makes them unique. That's the part that gets missed. And Differentiated is here to change that. Okay, so why now? Well, we're living in a moment where ideas and the people behind them are challenging our status quo every single day. But most of the stories that we hear come from people like Alex Hormozi or Gary Vaynerchuk, or some of the biggest people on the biggest podcast on the biggest stages in the world. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. They have some fantastic advice. But those people, they're 100 steps ahead of you. And sometimes you don't need to hear advice from somebody that's at the top of the mountain. You need to hear lessons from somebody who is just 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. The people that are still in it, still building, in the trenches, learning as they go. So the question that I want to explore is, who is building something really freaking awesome right now? Who are the people that we're not paying attention to yet? And what can we learn from the way that they think, how they build, and the ways that they're breaking the mold? So you're probably asking, why do I even bother listening? There's no shortage of people out there telling me to hustle harder and to sell more. Well, Differentiated is about the stories of people that make you stop scrolling and start thinking differently about what's possible. Each episode, I highlight a founder, a creator, or a brand that is building something huge in an untraditional way. I'll unpack the stories behind how they did it, the decisions, the struggles, and the breakthroughs that finally set them apart. And finally, I'll share the lessons that I take away from these conversations so you can start to think differently, stand out, and build smarter. No fluff, no jargon, just real conversations with some remarkable people. It's gonna be scrappy, it's gonna be fun, and it's gonna leave you inspired to think bigger and build smarter. So if you're a founder who's charting your own path, or you're a creator that's building something wildly awesome, or you're somebody that's just tired of the traditional way of doing things, this show is for you. Subscribe, share, and tell me whose story you want to hear next. I'll find it, I'll unpack it, and I'll break it down. Because the best stories, well, they deserve to be heard. I'm Chris Ford. This is Differentiated. Let's go have some fun.